In this session, I will talk about asexual reproduction in animals. Especially, I will talk about different types of asexual reproduction found in animals. As you all know that in asexual reproduction, there is no involvement of sex cell. So, in asexual reproduction, there is no involvement of sex cell, or these are known as gametes. These gametes may be female gamete or male gamete. The female gamete is known as egg and the male gamete is known as sperm. So there is no question about the involvement or fusion of both the gametes, male and female gametes. So only somatic cells are involved in this reproduction. That's why the asexual reproduction, also known as somatogenic reproduction. So this is known as the somatogenic reproduction because here only somatic cells are involved. The body is made up of two types of cell. One is the somatic cell, another is the sex cell. Sex cell contains haploid set of chromosome, but the somatic cell contains the diploid number of chromosome. These somatic cells divide and form the new organism. Such type of reproduction is known as the asexual type of reproduction. In case of sexual reproduction, we have seen that there is the two parents. The female parent, such female parent produce egg, and another is the male parent. The female parent, which is the mother, and the male parent is known as the father. Father shares sperm and mother shares egg by the fusion of egg and sperm, which produce zygote. So the fusion of egg and sperm, this process is known as the fertilization. So the fusion of egg and sperm is known as the fertilization. So such zygote undergoes development phase like cleavage, blastulation, gastrulation, organogenesis, and eventually a small offspring or embryo is developed. So this process is known as the embryonic development, and this is the fertilization. And the formation of egg is known as the oogenesis, and the formation of sperm is known as the spermatogenesis. Spermatogenesis process, which takes place inside the testis of the male, and the oogenesis process or the formation of egg takes place inside the female parent, the ovary of the female parent. If you compare the sexual reproduction and the asexual reproduction, it is seen that in case of sexual reproduction, there is the involvement of two parents. So such type of reproduction is known as the biparental. So the sexual reproduction is known as the biparental. But in case of asexual reproduction, here only the single parent, only the body of the single parent divide and redivide, which produce so many offspring. So such type of reproduction is known as the uniparental. Uniparental, because here only single individual is involved in the process of reproduction. So obviously, you imagine that at the beginning, all organisms were very simple type. Gradually, the evolution process occurs, and gradually, time to time, in due course of evolution, the complexity of organisms are occurred. So obviously at the beginning, the reproduction was in this type, means asexual type of reproduction, simply the division of body of the organism and production of new individuals. In due course of time, in due course of evolution, during evolution, the complexity of the organism takes place. That's why the two parents are developed. In two parents, in opposite parents, there is the production of egg and the sperm, and in due course of evolution, there is the one stage which is known as the fertilization, and during evolution, the total embryonic complexity, events of complexity are developed. So obviously you can think, you can imagine at the time of evolution, in early stage, the type of reproduction was asexual type of reproduction. From asexual type of reproduction, the sexual type of reproduction actually developed. So why nature adopt the another type of reproduction, which is known as the sexual type of reproduction, though there was the asexual type of reproduction? It is observed that during several generations of asexual type of reproduction, there is the weakness of genetic weakness of organism takes place, and the viability of organism becomes very less. That's why nature switch on another type of reproduction, that is the sexual type of reproduction. In sexual type of reproduction, there is the fusion of gene of two parents. That's why there is the recombination of gene takes place at the sexual type of reproduction. So recombination of gene takes place in the sexual type, which causes the production of new character, the production of new traits in the individual. And the recombination process which helps for the production of new individuals bearing the new character, or it also known as the new species. So sexual reproduction helps for the production of new species, or you can say the sexual reproduction helps for the process of evolution, or the sexual reproduction which helps for the speciation, the production of new species. On the other way, the somatogenic reproduction or the asexual type of reproduction, it is not benefit, it is not helpful for the production of new species or the process of evolution, that is the speciation. In case of sexual reproduction, those offsprings are produced, such offspring having new characters, and such offspring slightly differ from the father and the mother. But in case of somatogenic reproduction, those offsprings are produced, these offsprings are alike and they are the 100% similar with the parent. So such type of somatogenic or asexual reproduction, in other words, you can say this is the offsprings, those are produced from the asexual reproduction. These are the clones of the parents. So we think that the sexual reproduction is the complex and sexual reproduction which help for the production of the new character, for the production of new species. But the asexual reproduction, there is no question about the speciation. So all we know that the environment changing during the course of time. So those offsprings are produced in sexual reproduction. They are more adaptive to the changing environment. But on the other way, those offsprings are produced by the asexual reproduction. These offsprings are not adapt the changing environment. So adaptability capacity of the offspring produced by the sexual reproduction are more. So this is another characters of the merits of the sexual reproduction. So this is the complete idea about the asexual reproduction. Suppose that this is the parent body which divide and which forms two offspring and suppose that this is the parent which divide, the body of parent divides into two and which produce offspring 1, offspring 2. So this is the daughter cell, suppose that 1, daughter cell 2. This is the simple process of the fragmentation, the simple process of division of the parent body. That's why it is known as the somatogenic reproduction. So here it is very common. The division of parent body takes place by the mitotic cell division, or it may be very simpler like a mitotic or mitotic. So the mitotic cell division or simpler a mitotic cell division found in case of asexual reproduction. But in case of sexual reproduction, there is the production of sperm and egg. So here there is the another type of cell division which is known as the reductional cell division, which produce the haploid gametes from the diploid cell, and such cell division is known as the meiotic cell division. So both meiotic and mitotic cell division found in case of sexual reproduction, but in case of asexual reproduction, only mitotic cell division or very simpler amitotic cell division are found. There are several types of asexual reproduction. So I will go one by one. So very common type of asexual reproduction may be the fission. So very common asexual and the simplest type of reproduction is the fission. Second one may be the budding, and other asexual type of reproduction may be the fragmentation, gemmulation, plasmotomy, another may be the regeneration. I may add regeneration. So these are the various type of asexual reproduction. Now come to the first type of very common type of asexual reproduction, that is the fission process. Such fission process found in protista. For example, protozoans. In case of protozoa, the fission process is very common. Such fission process may be two types. Fission means the division of body into two pieces, and each piece developed into new individuals. This process is known as the fission. Suppose that this is the mother cell, and by the division of mother cell, there is the production of two daughter cell. Here, the mother individual or the mother body divides into two, and here two offsprings are produced. If and the division of mother body, this is known as the fission. If the two individuals or two daughter cells or two offsprings are produced, then the fission is known as the binary fission. If more than two individuals are produced, suppose that this is another one, this is another one, four offsprings are produced. If by the division of this mother cell or mother body, so four offsprings are produced, then the fission process is known as the multiple fission. So there is the two type of fission, binary fission, and another is the multiple fission. The binary fission, for example, found in amoeba. This is the unicellular protozoan. This is the one protist. In case of favorable condition, amoeba reproduced by binary fission. So in favorable condition, amoeba stop feeding and withdraw all the pseudopodia. Here the pseudopodia. So withdraw all the pseudopodia and it becomes spherical in shape. This is the prior events of the binary fission. A constriction and the mother amoeba divides into two by the appearance of constriction at the middle. So this is the constriction which appears in the middle, but the nucleus of the mother amoeba, which divides into two by the mitotic process. So the division of nucleus which takes place by mitosis. Mitosis means the division takes place through four phases: prophase, metaphase, anaphase, and telophase. So by the process of mitosis, the division of nucleus takes place and the single nucleus now become two daughter nuclei inside the mother amoeba. Now the division of cytokinesis takes place. So the such constriction which goes deep and fuse to each other, and eventually two individuals, daughter amoeba, are produced. This process is, this is the daughter amoeba, this is the daughter amoeba. So the karyokinesis is followed by the cytokinesis. This is the simple division of the body. This is known as the fission, and here two daughter amoeba are produced. That's why this process is known as the binary fission, which takes place in favorable in favorable condition when availability of food and environmental condition is good. So this is the binary fission. So another process is the multiple fission. When the environmental condition is adverse type, in unfavorable condition, amoeba reproduce by multiple fission. In this condition, first amoeba withdraw all pseudopodia and it becomes inactive and it becomes spherical in shape. Now, a cyst wall is secreted around the amoeba to overcome the adverse condition. To resist the adverse condition, this is the, suppose that this is the cyst wall, and some worker reported that this cyst wall is made up of 3 layers. So this is the cyst wall. So inside the cyst wall, the division of nucleus takes place. So this is the cyst wall, and inside the cyst wall there is the division of nucleus. So nucleus divide repeatedly by amitotically process. So the nucleus divide amitotically and produced so many nuclei, and these nuclei arranged at the periphery or the peripheral region of the mother amoeba. This is the mother amoeba. So around the bit of nuclei, a bit of cytoplasm is surrounded. So this is the bit of cytoplasm which surrounds the nuclei. So these are the, so bit of cytoplasm surround, now present around the nucleus, and the development of plasma membrane takes place. This is the cytokinesis. So first karyokinesis process by the amitotically division of the nucleus, and such nuclei arranged at the peripheral region of the mother amoeba, and the division of cytoplasm takes place. A bit of cytoplasm surround the nuclei, and around the nucleus there is the development of plasma membrane. So at the arrival of favorable condition, there is the break of cyst wall and releasing of small amoeba, which is known as the amoebula, plural amoebulae, takes place, or these are known as the pseudopodiospore. So these are known as amoebulae. Amoebulae, plural, singular amoebula, or which also known as the pseudopodiospore. So at the arrival of favorable condition, the break off of cyst wall takes place and releasing of amoebulae or pseudopodiospore takes place. These amoebulae now set free and leads into independent life. This process is known as the multiple fission. There is the big confusion about the multiple fission and sporulation. So sporulation, this is another type of asexual reproduction which is found in case of protist. It also found in case of amoeba. So in the process of sporulation, the sporulation process which also takes place in adverse environmental condition. First point, which takes place in adverse environmental condition. Second thing is that there is no formation of cyst wall. The multiple fission, also known as encystment, because here the formation of cyst wall actually involved, or inside the cyst wall the division of amoeba, mother amoeba, takes place. That's why multiple fission, also known as the encystment. But in case of sporulation, there is no formation of cyst wall. There is no formation of cyst wall. So what happened here? Here, inside the mother amoeba, the nucleus, the division of nucleus takes place, and which divides into number of nuclei. Around each nucleus, bit of nucleus, a bit of cytoplasm surround. So the surrounding of cytoplasm takes place around the bit of nucleus, and plasma membrane develop around the bit of cytoplasm. Now here a protective spore wall will develop around each small amoeba or amoebula. So plural amoebulae. So these are the amoebulae, now surrounded by spore wall. So this is the spore wall. This process is known as the sporulation. This is known as the sporulation. So onset of favorable condition, such spore wall rupture and releasing of amoebula takes place. This is known as the sporulation. So in case of amoeba, in favorable condition, amoeba reproduces by binary fission. In unfavorable condition, reproduced by multiple fission. In adverse condition, amoeba reproduces by sporulation method. Such fission process also divided into several types on the basis of their plane of fission. If the fission plane is transverse, then it is known as the transverse fission. In case of Paramecium, the division of Paramecium which takes place by the transverse fission, that's why this is the transverse plane. So in case of Paramecium, the binary fission is transverse binary fission. Transverse binary fission found in Paramecium. In case of Euglena, the fission plane which developed in longitudinal fashion, and Euglena divides into two by longitudinal fission. So the longitudinal binary fission found in case of Euglena. In case of Ceratium, the fission plane is oblique, and such type of binary fission is known as oblique binary fission. So on the basis of type of plane, the binary fission may be three types: transverse binary fission, longitudinal binary fission, and oblique binary fission. Now come to another type of asexual reproduction, that is the budding. In case of budding, that is the production of reproductive unit that is known as the bud. Bud means the reproductive outgrowth by the division of special type of cell in case of sponges, in case of hydra, or somehow in protozoans. A reproductive bud, the development of reproductive bud takes place. So the formation of reproductive bud or the budding process, this type of reproduction also known as the blastogenic reproduction. Suppose that in case of hydra, suppose that this is the hydra and this is the tentacles present around the manubrium. So just below the middle portion, the ectoderm, the interstitial cell of the ectoderm. The interstitial cell of ectoderm divide and redivide, which produce a outgrowth, which is known as the bud. This is known as the bud. The growing of bud takes place in association with mother hydra. So this is the mother hydra. So the growth of bud takes place in association with mother hydra. So this is the mother hydra and this is the growing daughter hydra. So now this is the bud, the elongated bud. Now this elongated bud, this portion is the proximal, this is the distal portion. So after fully growth of bud, the coelenterine, which actually communicate with the bud. So after fully development of bud at the distal portion, there is the opening of mouth and the formation of tentacles takes place. And there is the separation of coelenterine, the daughter hydra, the coelenterine of daughter hydra, which break the communicates with the coelenterine of the mother hydra. So now the communication stops from the coelenterine of mother hydra and the coelenterine of daughter hydra. So after fully growth, a constriction appear in between the mother and the daughter hydra, and there is the separation or the detachment of daughter hydra takes place from the mother hydra. Now such daughter hydra leads into independent life. This process is known as the budding process. Here it is observed that such bud actually takes place outside of the body. That's why such type of bud is known as the exogenous bud. This is the exogenous bud found in hydra. So if the bud takes place inside the body, such type of budding process is known as the endogenous bud or endogenous budding. In case of sponge, the internal bud, the development of internal bud takes place, which is known as the gemmule, and the process is known as the gemmulation. So now I go to the gemmulation process. Gemmulation means internal bud. This is the internal bud. Come to the gemmulation process. In gemmulation process, in unfavorable condition, suppose that this is the sponge or cycon, in unfavorable condition, some of the special type of cell present in sponge like arcucide, or thizocyte. These arcucide cell and the thizocyte cells inside the sponge in unfavorable condition, they group into and forms a ball-like structure. Suppose that this is the internal cut open structure and this is the formation of gemmules. So in unfavorable condition, the arcucide cell and the thizocyte cell inside the spongocele, the body cavity of the sponge is known as the spongocele, which forms a ball-like structure is known as the gemmule. After the death of mother body, after the decaying of mother sponge, the releasing of gemmules takes place. So suppose that these are the gemmules which actually present bottom of the ocean or the pond. At the arrival of favorable condition, these gemmules set free and germinate into a new sponge. This is known as the process of gemmulation. So such gemmule, this is one type of bud which actually forms inside the spongocele, inside the sponge. That's why it is known as the gemmulation process. Now come to the another type of process of asexual reproduction, that is the fragmentation. In case of fragmentation, if the body part is lost, then such body part is regenerated by the process of fragmentation process. So such fragmentation process found in sponges, flatworm like planaria, starfishes, some of the coelenterate. If you remove the arm of a starfish, then it is regenerated and it develops again. This process is known as the fragmentation. If the piece of body is lost, then which is regenerated by the division of the cell, this is known as the fragmentation. In case of planaria, the new blast cell which initiate the process of regeneration and the division of such new blast cell which forms the lost part. In case of planaria, this is the flatworm. In case of opalina, there is the independent division of cytoplasm takes place. So in opalina, there is the number of nuclei. So first, the independent division of cytoplasm takes place. Suppose that there is the division of cytoplasm. So this is the division of cytoplasm. After the division of cytoplasm, the nuclei which already present prior to the division of cytoplasm, these nuclei distributed into the pieces of cytoplasm, and this is the another group of cytoplasm, this is another bit of cytoplasm, this is another bit of cytoplasm. Now such opalina divide into number of daughter opalina. This process is known as the plasmotomy. Here, the cytoplasm divides independently prior to the division of nucleus. Now come to the another type of asexual reproduction, that is the regeneration. So regeneration process, this is the very similar with fragmentation process. The injured part or the lost part of the body is formed by the division of some special cell. For example, new blast in case of planaria. This is known as the regeneration. Such regeneration process actually found in case of protozoans, in case of coelenteroids, in sponges, in echinoderms, in flatworms. So the regeneration and the fragmentation, these are very much similar process. So the fragmentation, in other words, you may say, if you cut the sponge into different pieces, then each piece of sponge produce the new individual. This process is known as the fragmentation process. Actually, this fragmentation process found in sponge, this is 100% process. If you cut the sponge into several pieces, then each piece get into new individual. This is the fragmentation. But in some workers, it is reported that if some lost portion, if it is generated, then it also known as the fragmentation. But actually fragmentation means if the piece of body generate into new individual, which is known as the fragmentation process. If the lost part is generated, cut portion is generated, this portion is known as the regeneration process. Thank you for watching.